They never have to say it outright, you just know. The atmosphere subtly shifts when you enter a room. People sit up straighter. Their laughter fades into awkward silence, and conversations trail off mid-thought. You haven't said a word, haven't done anything offensive, yet your presence alone seems to send ripples through the air. It's not that you're aggressive or overbearing. It's that there's something about you, an unseen intensity that demands attention even in stillness. You ask questions that dig beneath the surface. You listen with full presence. You speak not to impress, but to connect. And when you look someone in the eye, they often look away, not out of disrespect, but because they feel exposed. You've likely heard you're too intense and too deep, or that you overanalyze everything. But what if the truth is that you're not too much, you're simply real? Carl Jung believed that some people carry within them a psychological force, an energy that cannot be faked, one that silently challenges others to confront what they've buried deep. This isn't some mystical aura in the traditional sense. Jung didn't see energy as a glowing light or a rainbow-colored halo. He saw it as a field of psychological influence, a kind of invisible transmission shaped by your inner work, your emotions, and most of all, your unconscious mind. Your presence communicates long before you speak. It shows in your posture, in the silence you carry, in the way people respond to you instinctively. Jung called this the unconscious transmission of the self. The more shadow you've faced, the more truth you've owned, the more intense your energy becomes. It is not shaped by approval or conformity, but by alignment with your authentic self. People feel this. Even if they don't understand it, they sense that you are different. Your eyes hold emotion, your silence is full of meaning, and your mere presence can stir discomfort in others. Not because you're unkind, but because your energy is honest. And honesty can be jarring to those who've spent their lives hiding behind masks. You don't try to unsettle anyone, but your aura, your grounded self-awareness, does something to people. It reflects back their insecurities, their fears, their inauthenticity. This reflection isn't always welcome, so they distance themselves, they avoid eye contact, they whisper or label you as intimidating, too intense, or aloof. It's a defense mechanism, not a judgment of your character. Your presence feels like a mirror, and most people aren't ready to face their own reflection. Jung believed that people who've integrated their darkness, who've made peace with the parts they once rejected, emit a rare kind of psychological clarity. It's not something you advertise, it's something others feel. This clarity doesn't just attract, it disrupts. It can draw people toward you when they are in pain, and push them away when they are clinging to illusion. You might have noticed that superficial interactions exhaust you. Small talk, surface-level chatter, it drains your energy. It's not that you're antisocial, you're simply wired for depth. You crave meaning, sincerity, and emotional resonance. You want to talk about what matters, what's real. But most social settings are built around polite avoidance, and your presence breaks the script. People feel that you're not fully participating in the performance and they don't quite know how to handle it. To them, your disinterest in shallow conversation can read as coldness. But in truth, your soul is longing for authenticity, and your aura makes that longing visible. Interestingly, this same energy that makes others uneasy often draws people to you in their most vulnerable moments. Strangers open up to you. Friends confide in you when they're falling apart. You become the silent counselor, the emotional anchor, even when you never volunteered for the role. There's something in your presence, calm, steady, safe, that makes people feel like they can finally release what they've been carrying. And while this is a gift, it can also be isolating. You hold space for others, absorb their pain, yet rarely feel seen yourself. Your aura offers healing, but it also creates distance, especially with those who fear facing their own pain. One of the most common reactions to your presence is discomfort with eye contact. People will glance at you and quickly look away. They might fidget, become quieter, or seem to change their behavior around you. Sometimes they'll avoid you altogether. Other times they'll observe you silently, unsure how to engage. Jung taught that when a person embodies parts of themselves others have disowned, they become a kind of psychological trigger. Your eyes, your energy, They invite people to confront what they'd rather ignore. It's not a conscious process. They aren't seeing you, they're seeing their own shadow reflected back, and if they're not ready to meet it, they withdraw. You don't need to speak to have an impact. Your energy alone speaks volumes. People may react defensively, coldly, or even with aggression, and you're left wondering, what did I do? The answer, nothing. But your presence acts like an emotional spotlight, illuminating what others hide. You're not being confrontational. Your existence simply makes avoidance harder. This is the paradox of having a strong, aligned aura. You unsettle people not by force, but by presence. You aren't trying to command attention. It's just that your truth challenges the comfort of illusion. And finally, you have no patience for fake personas. You can sense inauthenticity before a person even speaks. The forced laughter, the curated image, the social masks, they feel like static in your system. You're not being judgmental, you're being perceptive. When someone is pretending to be something they're not, your aura senses the fragmentation, and without a word, your energy sends a message. I see you. Most people aren't ready for that. So they distance themselves, grow defensive, or mislabel you as difficult. But all you've done is be yourself, fully and unapologetically. You're not intimidating because you try to be. You're intimidating because your energy speaks louder than words. You ask questions that others carefully avoid. You refuse to accept what's common as what's right. Your clarity unsettles illusions. People begin to doubt themselves around you, not because you manipulate, but because your presence is deeply honest. Your calmness reveals anxiety in others. Your groundedness highlights their insecurity. Carl Jung once said that a truly self-aware individual becomes a contradiction to society. You're not here to argue or prove a point. Just by existing as you are, you challenge everything built on false certainty. That makes you quietly powerful, and for many, dangerously so. People open their hearts to you effortlessly, then vanish just as quickly. They say things like, "I've never told anyone this before," then disappear. This emotional whiplash is not your doing. Your energy activates what they've long buried. You see them not as they pretend to be, but as they truly are. And that's terrifying for someone who isn't ready. You didn't ruin the connection. You made it too real. What you reflect isn't flattery, it's truth. And truth has a way of unsettling those not ready to face their shadow. You enter a room and the entire dynamic shifts. Authority figures grow defensive. Loud personalities fall silent. You haven't said a word, but your presence says, "I can't be controlled." Jung believed that individuals who have integrated their power radiate sovereignty. Not dominance, not bravado, but a quiet strength. Those who build their identity on control often react to this energy with fear or resentment. Despite your sincerity, some cast you as the villain. You enter with kindness, honesty, no hidden motives, but somehow you're too much. Your boundaries are mistaken for arrogance, your silence for judgment, your strength for ego. This isn't your fault. It's projection. Jung warned that people often place their unresolved traits onto others. Those who refuse to face their own shadow will see you not as a mirror, but as a threat. You didn't betray them. You simply refused to betray yourself. Strangers are drawn to you. They approach you in grocery stores, airports, random places, pouring out secrets saying, "I don't know why I'm telling you this." It's not charm, it's your soul's gravity. Jung called this numinous energy, an ancient, sacred force that draws the lost and the hurting. You act as a spiritual lighthouse. Your presence doesn't just light a room, it calls to the parts of people they didn't know still long to be seen. You can read a room in seconds. You sense tension before a word is spoken. You know who's hiding, who's hurting, who's posturing. This isn't imagination. It's psychological intuition, a subconscious intelligence Jung described as beyond logic or language. But this gift is also a burden. You're constantly absorbing emotions, energies, vibrations that others don't even notice. Without care, you carry feelings that aren't yours. Your antenna is always up, and that's both a strength and a weight. You've always felt different. Not in an arrogant way, but in a soul-deep sense of separation. Since childhood, you've sensed truths others ignored. You've questioned norms, carried wisdom beyond your years. That loneliness isn't about isolation. It's the loneliness of seeing more, feeling more, knowing more. Jung spoke of individuals called by the self toward growth and transformation. These individuals often feel misplaced in society, but they're not here to fit in. They're here to elevate. When you show up authentically, people react. Some admire you, others pull away. Not because you're doing anything wrong, but because you represent something they're not ready for. Your presence reflects what they've denied in themselves. Most people live avoiding their shadow. But when you walk into a room fully integrated, it disrupts their illusions. You ask the silent question, "I've faced myself, have you?" And many don't want to answer. You are rare. You are not broken. The discomfort you bring is not a problem. It's a signal. You feel too much, ask too much, see too much, not because you're flawed, but because you're awake. The world tells you to shrink. You're too sensitive, too intense, too honest. But those are your strengths. Those are the gifts that scare people who've never gone within. Carl Jung called individuation the path of becoming your whole self, the greatest but loneliest journey. Most never start it, but you did. You weren't made to conform. You were born to awaken. And awakening is a lonely, holy road. It separates you, not because you're superior, but because your soul insists on truth. People may resent you, avoid you, mislabel you, but it's not your job to be understood by everyone. Your light doesn't need their permission to shine. Some will walk away. Let them. The ones meant for you will feel safe in your fire. Your aura is not just a vibe. It's a declaration. I will not be small to be accepted. Your presence is not a whisper. It's a voice echoing with the courage to take up space. You weren't born to shrink yourself to fit into narrow expectations. Every part of you, even the ones they said were too much, belongs here. You are not a diluted version of someone else's comfort zone. You are a full, vivid spectrum of self. I will not trade authenticity for approval. You are not here to perform for acceptance or dress your truth in someone else's preferences. Approval that comes at the cost of your essence is not approval worth having. The real ones will see you, feel you, honor you. There is no applause louder than your own soul recognizing itself in your choices. Stay real, even when it shakes the room. I will not carry what is not mine. You don't have to shoulder projections, expectations, or emotional baggage that doesn't belong to you. You are allowed to set it down. You are allowed to walk away. You are allowed to define your own weight, your own pace, your own direction. This is not selfish. This is sacred. This is your truth. This is your power. When you choose yourself, fully, relentlessly, unapologetically, you ignite something ancient and untamed within. You become a lighthouse in a fog of conformity. You remind others what it looks like to be whole in a world addicted to fragments. You are not lost, you are layered. And while others may call you too much, those who are meant for you will know you're just right. Let them whisper. Let them misunderstand. The ones who are aligned with your frequency will meet you without flinching. You don't have to translate your soul to be understood by people who aren't listening. Because in a world built on masks, your realness is revolutionary. The truth is magnetic. The truth is brave. The truth is needed. The more you live in alignment with it, the more you free others to do the same. Don't dim, don't fold, don't apologize. Be loud in your quiet. Be bold in your softness. Be firm in your joy. The world doesn't need another agreeable person. It needs the wild, the deep, the fully alive. It needs truth tellers and edge walkers and heart holders. That's you, and that's more than enough.